Hi, I'm Nancy Saum, and I really appreciate your coming here today for this introduction to Yi Jin Jing. It's a Qigong practice that is not very well known, and I actually just learned about it myself in the last 6 months. I liked it so much that I want to be able to offer it to people because I think it has many benefits, and I have prepared this orientation which in no way will teach you the entire form in 1 hour, but it will give you enough of an understanding and an appreciation for what it is so you can decide whether you want to pursue it yourself wherever you go back to that you call home or here in Sarasota. So let's begin with just talking about Qigong a little bit itself, because some of you have some experience with Qigong and others maybe not at all. And Qigong is an ancient Chinese practice that dates back thousands of years, and it works with this energy in the body to help us be as healthy as possible. So it's a self-care practice that encourages health, vitality, longevity. Within the practice of Qigong, there are several different styles. And the one style is absolute stillness, actually. You know, it may appear to be like a sitting or lying down meditation without the body moving at all. And in that very still practice, what you're doing is moving your mind through your body, because wherever your mind's attention goes is where the qi will flow. So it's not necessary to move. So that means, for example, if you have an issue with some part of your body and you're not able to do the movement the way it's being described, you don't need to actually do it. You can imagine it with your mind, confident that when your mind is running through the movement, the qi is flowing there, all right? So there's this very still form of Qigong. Then there is the Qigong, which I have been most familiar with and which I think most people are, is a soft flowing kind of motion where your body is relaxed, you're breathing easily, your mind is focused on what you're feeling, and the energy just flows, okay? This particular style we're going to play with a little bit here today is a bit harder, not so soft. It is a form of Qigong that it is said that the Buddha, Bodhidharma, brought to the Shaolin monks in China when he found them meditating all day long and having very disciplined and cultivated minds, but very weak and dilapidated bodies. And so he taught them this form as the basis for their becoming stronger and healthy, because body and mind are connected. This thing, harder Qigong. So what that means, well, actually, let me back up. Yi Jin Jing is the name of this form. Yi actually just in its translation from Chinese means to change. And yin refers to the bones and the sinews in the body, sinews being all of the soft connective tissues. The Jing refers to this being a classic form. So when we talk about this being a classic form in China, it was introduced in the 6th century AD. And it has many benefits. The first, most obvious benefit, because there is a physicality to it, is that it nurtures the tendons, the ligaments, the joints, the bones, the marrow in the bones, the muscles. You know, so it helps to nurture and strengthen all these parts of the body. And in doing so, it improves our posture, it improves our core stability, and it improves our reflexes. All of those things are really helpful as we age because it helps us to be more balanced, and when we do lose balance, we're more easily able to respond. The practice, when you continue it, as in any kind of a meditative practice, beyond the physical effects that you feel, there is the emotional and the spiritual effects that follow. And emotionally, this practice is one that helps us to develop courage. And this doesn't mean courage as in brute force and confronting people and being a bully, not that kind of courage, but the kind of courage that helps us to make decisions, that helps us to know our own mind, and that helps us to speak our own truth. Basically, it helps us to feel kind of courageous in standing up for what we believe in. Spiritually, it is said to help us to see our original face, which means that we see this face before we were even born. It's the timeless nature of ourselves. And the reason that I feel like having this introduction is that you can't just drop into a class where we'll be learning these forms without an underlying appreciation for the foundations of it. Because the foundations of this form are a little different than other Qigong. And so you have to learn some things differently. So the first thing that's different is the breathing. In our flowing, soft Qigong, I spend a lot of time reminding people that you don't have to breathe any certain way. All you have to do is relax and breathe naturally. Just breathe. Not so with this form, okay? So the breathing is distinctly different. There is a part of the form, a part of the time when you will be just breathing naturally. But then there is a time when you'll be doing something that we call reverse abdominal breathing. And here's where I'd actually like you to try this with me. And you can either try it sitting or standing. I think I'm going to stand, but you're welcome to try it either way. So generally, when you practice yoga, Qigong, like a lot of us have been taught that you should belly breathe, that's the best way to breathe, the right way to breathe. And we also notice that we feel our belly expanding as we inhale and then contracting back as we exhale. We're going to do just the reverse of that. Okay, so this is tricky and it takes some time to unlearn the way we thought we should be breathing. Okay, it is still belly focused, but here, as you're inhaling, imagine that your navel is being drawn toward your spine. So give that a try. Inhale your navel toward your spine, and then feel what happens to these abdominal muscles in your lower belly and your core. And then on the exhale, let the air out, and you can let your navel return back to its place, but see if you can maintain the bit of contraction in those core muscles. All right. This is a habit you have to learn and maybe a habit you have to unlearn. So don't be surprised if this takes a long time and it doesn't feel very natural and you may forget, but don't worry about that. So let's do that some more. Inhale your navel towards your spine. And then exhale, letting the breath out, but maintaining some of that tension is kind of a negative way to think. But like you can feel that the muscles in your lower belly are active. You don't just let them go, right? So inhale again, navel towards your spine. And then release the breath. Again, navel towards spine as you inhale. And then release the breath. Okay, so how are you doing with that? Are there any questions so far? Okay, it's not so easy, huh? No. You can see, though, how if we were to breathe this way a lot of the time, that the core muscles would be strengthened. Yeah, and so that helps us with our posture. That helps us to support our backs, and so we are stronger in our back. But what it's doing in the Qi world is that there are three parts and places in the body where Qi is stored. Lower Dantian, which is right here, middle Dantian at the heart, upper Dantian at the top of the head. So here what's happening is we're inhaling and we're concentrating all of this Qi right here in this lower Dantian, and we're like firing it up. We're getting it powerful and fired up, and then on the exhale we send it out to the body part that we're working with. All right, so that's the underlying premise or foundational principle. So that is reverse abdominal breathing. Okay, then there is moderate fire breathing, And in moderate fire breathing, we're actually doing reverse abdominal breathing. And then we're in a posture. Let's say that the first posture starts with our arms circling around. So here in moderate fire breath, what we're doing is inhaling, again, navel towards spine, that reverse abdominal breath. And then on the exhale, when we let that breath out, we're imagining that it's flowing around in the circle of our arms out to the tips of our fingers, so that we can imagine the strength that we are developing in our arms and down to our fingertips, all right? That's moderate fire at the beginning of a movement. Then, strong fire, the next stage, is we inhale, navel towards spine, and then strong fire, in this case, we're going to press so that we're having contraction of our muscles at the same time that the chi is flowing out through those arms. And then we come back. And then again. So you can't even always see what's going on. You know, if you're not aware of this practice and you look at someone doing this, you might say there is nothing happening there. But put your own arm out and feel what it's like if it's just kind of flaccid. You know, you're not engaging any of the muscles at all. Then imagine, not worrying now about the breathing, but just imagine that you're pressing the back of your hand against an object and feel what you can sense in the muscles of your arms. Are you feeling the subtle contraction? Okay, so that's what the whole process is about, is feeling the subtle contraction. Now there's a balance to be achieved here. If you're too flaccid, nothing will happen, no benefit comes. If you're too tense, nothing comes. It's finding the spot in the middle, somewhere about 40%. So you're making some effort, but you're not trying to overdo. All right? So that's the breathing. Natural breath? Yes, we have a question.
Can you do that on the exhalation?
Yes. So the question is when, the tension, the subtle contraction in the part of your body that you're working with happens on the exhalation of strong fire. Any other questions? Okay. So there's natural breathing, reverse abdominal breathing, moderate fire, where you're doing reverse abdominal breathing. You're sending on the exhale your breath out to the body part, but without contracting the muscles. Strong fire is reverse abdominal breathing and sending the breath out with the contracting muscle. All right. So then there are 12 different postures that we do this in. So that's why I say it's impossible to teach this in 1 hour. There are 12 different postures. And we'll demonstrate with a couple of them today. Very good. So then there is a sequence to be learned in each of the postures. And here now I would like you to stand up for this one, because we can all practice this together. And actually I'm going to be barefoot because I'm more comfortable practicing that way. So posture always, we call this grand opening. Okay, grand opening, we begin with our feet parallel and our toes are facing forward, about hip width apart. So feel where that is for you. And then your knees are soft, unlocked, and the tailbone drifts down toward the earth, and that tips your pelvis slightly, and it lets your lower spine achieve its natural curve. I always think of it as tailbone drifting toward the earth, but I have heard some teachers describe it as, imagine that you've plunked your bottom up on a tall stool. If that, whichever way gets you to the place of feeling that is best. And then, moving up from your pelvis along your spine, let your shoulders be relaxed. And if you don't know what relaxed shoulders feel like, then roll them up and down and back. Yes, do that one more time. All right. Okay. So now we are soft and relaxed shoulders. And then there is the instruction to let the crown of your head be drawn up toward the heavens. And in doing that, we lengthen the spine. It also draws the chin back in a little bit, so we're not standing jutting forward. So chin is drawn back. So this is the posture that we start with because it allows energy to flow. And then we feel ourselves breathing so that we know, because we can feel this body and this breath, we know that we're right here. And then let yourself listen for a sound coming from far, far away. And just doing that with your mind encourages a little more peacefulness and tranquility. The grand opening involves inhaling the arms up, out to your sides, floating them out like the wings of your heart. Your palms are facing down. And then in a very gracious gesture, you turn your palms over and facing up. And then we inhale again and bring our hands up overhead. Prayer hands, and then bring the hands down to the heart. And let your gaze rest at your fingertips. Then we'll release our hands to our sides. Inhale again. Exhale, step out. And we'll come around into the first posture, which is stretching tendons forward. And so here standing, we'll practice some of that reverse abdominal breathing, moderate fire. So you inhale your navel toward your spine. And then on the exhale, imagine that chi flowing out through your arms to your fingertips. Then again, inhale your navel toward your spine. Exhale out to your fingertips. And again, inhale navel toward spine. And then releasing that breath out to your fingers. Now strong fire. So here, we inhale and bring the hands toward us. And then on the exhale, we are pressing, and with that 30 or 40% of effort that we practiced earlier. And then inhale again, navel towards spine, and then exhale and press, feeling, and then inhaling again, exhaling and pressing. All right, then we come back and relax in the posture again. So here now we're just in the circle of our arms, breathing natural now. No fancy breath, just natural. And noticing inside what you may be feeling from just having done that little bit of practice. And then we close, bringing arms down and feet together. And inhale up. Prayer hands. Gazing at the fingertips. And then nurturing chi with one hand resting in the other and thumbs touching. All right. So let's actually begin and work through all of what we've covered so far, and then we'll experiment with a few other forms. So there is aligning from the feet through your knees, the tailbone, up through your shoulders and the crown of your head, and breathing, listening for a sound far away, and then inhaling the arms up out to the sides with your palms facing the earth, and then rolling them over, palms facing heaven, and then up overhead in prayer gesture, and then coming down to the heart, gazing at the tips of your fingers, and then opening. So there we have grand opening. Then, first posture. Now I'm going to actually, well, let's run through breath again. So then there's natural breath, which is just breathing normally. Then there is reverse abdominal breathing. Inhale your breath with navel moving towards your spine and feeling the contraction of your abdominal muscles, then letting that breath out, releasing it, and let's say standing here with arms by our sides, just releasing that breath out through your arms to the tips of your fingers. So that's the sense of moderate fire with reverse abdominal breathing. It's moderate because you're not tensing and actively engaging the muscles. It becomes strong fire when you inhale navel to spine, and then on the exhale, whatever movement you're doing with your body, but on the exhale, you feel some contraction, subtle contraction in the muscles of the part of the body that you're working with, and then you let it go. All right. Any questions now? Right, so let's look at then some of the different ways that these 12 postures look. There are 4 of them actually that begin very similarly, so it makes it kind of easy to learn a whole group of 4. The first one we've been practicing with a little bit is stretching the tendons forward. So that one, without paying attention to breath so much right now, let's just get a sense of what the movement is. It begins with your arms circling, and then the stretch is pressing the backs of your hands in front of you, and then releasing and coming back. And then again, pressing, and a little bit of sinking down as you do, and then coming back. And then pressing, and coming back. The second one is a stretch out to the sides. So your arms come up and out to the sides with your palms facing forward. Actually, we can play with breath on this one and try this. So now, reverse abdominal breath, bringing your navel to your spine. Moderate fire, your arms are relaxed, but you're sending your exhaled breath out through your arms to your fingertips and actually feeling them lengthening. Then continue again, another inhale, navel towards spine, and then exhaling the breath out to the tips of your fingers, feeling everything getting longer. One more time, inhale, navel towards spine, and then exhale out to the tips of your fingers. So now, strong fire, we inhale, navel towards spine, and actually come up on our toes, and then on the exhale, feet come down, and we engage the muscles in your arms. You feel that 30 or 40 or 50% effort. Then again, you inhale, navel to spine and up on your toes, and then you exhale with effort in your arms. And then let your arms relax. You inhale up, navel towards spine, and then exhale out to the tips of your fingers. Now we relax in this pose. So that means we just let our elbows sink a bit, let our shoulders relax, and enjoy what you can feel in your body right now. And then after this relax and enjoy portion, we nurture the qi. And nurturing the qi means bringing hands together and at lower dantian, and again, turning your attention inward.
Honoring your dantian, what are you doing with your knees?
Always knees are soft and unlocked, always. When you're practicing, your body should be relaxed and not stiff. The only time there's any muscular tension is when you are consciously tensing a muscle in this practice itself, okay? But otherwise, everything is relaxed. The third one that is a similar beginning in this portion is a stretching up. And so here, we are beginning with hands coming up in front of the body, and then they rotate and the palms reach up. And so this is the beginning posture for this one. And here we are inhaling navel towards spine, and then exhaling with a relaxed arm. Again, inhaling navel towards spine, exhaling with our arms relaxed. This is moderate fire. Inhaling again, navel towards spine. Exhaling with relaxed arms. Now, when we start strong fire, we're going to inhale and sink down. Navel is moving towards spine. Then on the exhale, we press up on our toes and arms are engaged. And then again, we sink down as we inhale. And then on the exhale, we're pressing up and arms are active. And then we sink down again and we press up. Arms are active. Ooh, yes. All right. And then we relax and enjoy. But that just means let yourself come down into a version of this posture that can be relaxing. And after spending a bit of time here, then we just come down again to nourishing qi at lower dantian. Very good. And then arms by your sides. Okay, so that's 3 different movements of the 12. I'd like to do, in the time we have left, another grouping of movements that are 3 that also have a very similar beginning. And they are a little more complex, or sometimes harder to follow if you're looking at me. So I'm going to turn around so that you can follow me from behind, which will make it easier, okay? So here I am, and I want you to stand comfortably in your aligned posture the way we began, and then bend your elbows, and you're going to bring the right hand around and swoop around over to your left. Then you're going to take your left hand and just skim over top of that one. And then that right hand, which did the big swooping, now swoops up and around to the top of your head. And the other hand takes the low path and comes around to your back. You got there with me? Okay. So this is what we look like. And here, this is the posture that we begin with. And here's where we would be practicing moderate fire. So we inhale, navel towards spine. And then we release the breath, feeling the energy flowing out to both hands at both ends of the spine. Inhale, navel towards spine. And then let your breath out to both hands, up and down the spine. Then inhale again, navel towards spine. And then send that qi out along both ends of the spine. Now here, when we come to strong fire, this is called separate heaven and earth. We're going to sink down, we're going to inhale, navel towards spine. And then on the exhale, with strong fire, we're going to sink down a bit and we're going to extend the palm of the upper hand facing heaven, palm of the lower hand facing earth, and you're engaging your arms. And then come back again to the beginning place. Inhale, And then exhale with strong fire, engaging the muscles in your arms, pressing both hands in opposite directions. And then again, coming up as you release. Last, inhale and exhale, stretching up. All right, so that is one half of this, because we have to do the same thing on the other side for balance. So we bring hands up to touch, and then we'll do this on the other side. I'm going to turn around again. So here now, we're going to start with the left hand. So we swing left hand around, right hand over, and then the left hand swoops all the way up and over, while the right hand comes down and back. And while I'm here, this point right here, where the hand is resting on the spine, is at a point called the Ming Men Gate, which is an energetic gateway for this body of ours. So here we are again in our opening posture, moderate fire. We inhale, navel towards spine. Exhale, just releasing that chi out through along the spine to both hands. And then inhale again, navel towards spine. Exhale, sending that chi out along the spine toward both hands. Last one, inhale, navel towards spine. And then release the chi. Then we will begin strong fire. We inhale and sink down. And then with the exhale, we spring ourselves up and we press. And then back down. And actually, I can't recall whether we're up on our toes or not, but these are things that come with more and more exposure to something new. And up. And then we rest in this posture, feeling the internal changes that may be occurring. And then we bring hands up in prayer, down, gazing at the fingertips. And then nurturing chi. There are two more that start similarly, which I'd like to do because it just makes good logical flow. They're not done back to back in the actual form itself. This one's called drawing the sword. So again, we start in that same way. Take your right hand. So the way that I've made it easier for me to get this part of the movement is to just realize that the hand that's swooping itself out and making the biggest motion is also the hand that's going to swoop on its way up and overhead. So it's sort of like it continues a big circle, and the other one just comes around. We started before with the hand on top. Now the hand is ending up across your upper back, at your upper back.
Can you show that one again, please?
Sure. I have a request to show that one again. Sure enough. This is the one that most people struggle with. So you bring your right hand around, and then your left hand comes over, and then that right hand swoops up, and the left hand just lands on your lower back. Okay? So now we're drawing the sword. And so not to go through all of the official steps, let's just look at what this feels like. So here now, we are going to sink down, and it's as if we're pulling a sword out of its sheath, right? So you have one fisted arm in one direction, and then your sword being drawn out. And then again, drawing it out. And again. All right. And then the third one that's similar is called twisting the spine. So we do this again. Well, actually, let's do the other half of that one. So we did it on one side. Now let's do the left side. So we take left hand and around, and right hand and over. Left hand comes up onto the upper back. And here's where we begin. Then when we get ready for strong fire, we make fists and we engage the muscles in the arms and we draw the sword. And then we come back again and draw the sword again. Yes, always on the exhale. All of this muscular movement and muscular tension is all on the exhale. Okay, the third one is called twisting the spine. This one comes around the same way. We start right, over left, right comes up. And here now, we rest our hand on that ear, okay? So your left hand's on your left ear, and your right hand is down here again at your low back. And this one, there's no special breathing at all. It's natural breath throughout, and all that you're doing is a very subtle twisting of your spine. And so you're turning your head to the left, as if your hand is helping to draw it subtly around. And then you come back again to face forward, and then again around, face forward, and around. Okay. Then we do the other side. We tap, we come down, and then it's your left hand around, your right hand over, left hand up, and opposite side. So just natural breathing. You let your head turn slightly, comfortably, and back. So you notice that I'm not doing all of the in-between parts of this posture where we relaxed and nurtured and allowed all of this integration of the qi, but that's what we would be doing in the full practice of the form. I just want you to have a sense for how these things go. So we've just now done, you've been exposed to 6 of the 12, all right? And these are some of the easier ones physically to learn. A couple of the others involve some lunges, and they're a bit more aggressive, but not impossible, and they all can be modified. So there's one where you would lunge onto the floor. If lunging to the floor doesn't work easily for you, you can lunge to a countertop. You can lunge to a tabletop. You can lunge to a chair. You can not lunge at all. Remember that you can just visualize, because in time, as you practice within your own comfort zone and your own limits, your body will come to trust that you're not going to hurt it, and it will relax, and it will let you take it further. So be kind to your body. Yeah, so this has really been a very brief overview and introduction to this very special form, I think. And so hopefully you have had enough exposure that you can decide for yourself whether you want to pursue it or not. And if you do want to pursue it, I would highly recommend that you go to a website. It's Robert Peng, who is the teacher that I trained with. And so it's Robert, R-O-B-E-R-T, Peng, P-E-N-G.com. And he teaches many other forms of Qigong, but this is the one that I especially appreciate. He actually does some online training for this course as well, or for this particular style of Qigong. And I think I would just like to close with a mantra that he especially uses at the end of his practice. So standing here yourself and aligning and resting in whatever sense of qi you've been able to connect with as you practice. He's fond of saying in English at the end of his practice, I am in qi, and qi is in me. And then the Chinese translation, I will attempt. Renzai qizeng, qizai renzong.